Louise Calvey, Head of Services and Safeguarding for the charity Refugee Action, joins us. She was at Birmingham Airport until the last flight landed on Sunday. Louise, first of all, how was that?
I'm not sure I can put it into words, to be honest. I've done this work for a long time, and I have never worked with people that have fled such trauma. They were incredibly disorientated, confused, worried about the people that they'd left behind, worried about what was going to happen to them in the UK. It was devastating. The last flight was devastating, and we were there 24 hours a day last week, and we would have been there forever if it meant more people coming through. My team were desperately looking for more people to come off more planes. That's our abiding concern, is the people that they left behind, and that's what people really wanted to talk about. For many, stepping into that arrivals hall was the first time that they had felt safe. And so for some, they wanted to talk about their experiences. They wanted to talk about the people that they'd left behind and the choices that they had to make, choices to take their immediate family and flee and leave other family members in that situation. I don't think that's something that we'll ever understand if we're born in the UK. But my team were supporting people through that immediate distress last week.
And in terms of when they get off the plane, these people that you were meeting, of course, planes coming into other airports here in the UK, what actually happens there and then? What is that process?
Logistically, the Home Office were there to process people, understand who was there, collect passports, generate immediate visas. They would then go and have biometrics taken by Border Force, and then moved on to quarantine accommodation through their coaches. But that takes a long time, and there was a lot of flights landing. So there was a real backlog in the airport, and people were waiting quite considerable time in the airport. So my team was there to provide immediate assistance with partners, making sure people had food, water, that they were comfortable, but critically making sure that people had urgent medical attention. I met one woman who had, I noticed she was sleeping in the chair or trying to sleep. And I looked closely at her, and she had a newborn baby tucked under her arm. And I talked to her, and it turned out she'd given birth in Kabul airport. Her baby was 4 days old. I can't imagine what that woman has been through. So making sure she immediately got the attention of the GP that was on site, who checked her and tried to make her comfortable so that she could get some sleep. That's what we saw, people having to immediately evacuate their life, take whatever they could.
I was going to say, and presumably not have very much with them.
Absolutely. The final flight, particularly, different flights you could notice different sort of themes with that flight, different experiences that they might have been through. The final flight, particularly, I noticed that people were coming through with meager possessions wrapped in scarves, in tattered carrier bags. So we quite quickly tried to gather all of the bags we had, and they were simply bags for life, supermarket bags for life, to give people so that they would have something to put their valued possessions in. And it just walking around that airport terminal with a bag full of bags for life, and people just being so happy that they had something to put their possessions in. It was truly devastating to see humans in that position.
You've been doing, as you say, this work for some time. What was particularly different about this, do you think?
It's the fact that people knew that they were safe, but that their loved ones weren't. I have never seen such an extreme of emotion. The relief and happiness that they felt for themselves and their family, and the devastation that they felt for the people that they loved, because they knew that the borders were closing. They know that the airlift was finishing. And the reality is that the people left in Afghanistan, there are no easy solutions for them, and there are no quick ways out. The most we can hope is that those borders reopen or relax so that people can make the land borders, and then they're going to join a very, very long queue for resettlement. Pakistan already has a significant refugee community.
What do you say to people when they say, how can I help?
I think, firstly, I always say, in your community, in your lives, in your homes, firstly and foremostly, be kind. We work with a lot of refugees in Refugee Action that have resettled into the UK, and the thing that they need the most is friendship. We need to build integrated, welcoming, cohesive communities, and that's something that everyone can do in their lives. It doesn't cost money and it doesn't take a lot of time. Be kind. Be kind to your new neighbours. Help people. The second thing people can do is understand what people have left behind in Afghanistan, and frankly, demand better. Our new borders bill that's being promoted will slam the door in the people's faces that have left in Afghanistan. We can do better as a country, and we need to embrace the fact that ongoing conflict is an inevitability globally. You've mentioned that we have people backed up in hotels. We do. And I understand the reasons for that. And it's the sheer speed of the response, which of course we all applaud. But the bottom line is this government stopped refugee resettlement 2 years ago and has failed to make a pledge for refugee resettlement. The reason we've got this massive housing pinch point is because we've dismantled the structures and infrastructure around refugee resettlement. We had a pipeline of 5,000 a year that was switched off. If that wasn't switched off, there would have been 5,000 spaces, housing, accommodation for 5,000 in that pipeline. What we're doing at the moment is cycling very quickly to rebuild that infrastructure. We need a permanent infrastructure around resettlement. And I would say to everyone listening, please embrace that. All of the politicians, all of the influencers, use whatever platform you have to challenge the Borders Bill and look for a position that acknowledges our role in creating welcome to people.